Now, Meghan Markle continues to make headlines as new revelations come to light in a legal battle. We now know that she not only anticipated that her private letters to her father would be leaked to the public, but she intentionally wrote those letters in a way that would pull at the heartstrings of the public who read them. I'm now joined by British political commentator Calvin Robinson. Calvin, thank you so much for joining me tonight. What do these revelations mean for Meghan's court case? I've read through some of these emails and text messages, and it's just fascinating insight into how that couple operate.
Well, first of all, Rita, thank you for the invitation. It's always a pleasure to be on your show. It's absolute bonkers, isn't it? Every time I learn something new about our Princess Meghan, it's something manipulative. It's something she's conniving. Every single step is planned. Who writes to their parents in a way that they're going to express it to be publicly read, to pull on people's heartstrings? Who thinks on that level? It's shocking to me. But what's actually more important is that she's admitted to lying. She's admitted to mistruths. Because as we've discussed in the past, whenever it comes to Meghan Markle, it's all about her truth, not the truth. But in a court of justice, that doesn't pull any weight. So I'm hoping that they'll find her in contempt, to be honest with you, because you cannot purge yourself in that way and expect to get away with it. But what's further surprising is that they continue to use the titles of Duchess and Prince and Duchess of Cambridge. Sussex, rather. It's absolutely shocking that they're allowed to continue to do that. We saw only this week they were at an event and they introduced themselves as royalty. And the royal family needs to say, actually, if you're going to be political, if you're going to keep selling yourselves to Netflix and Disney and all of the Hollywood industry, you need to take away the titles. You cannot muddy the waters of our royal institution. It's not just a British institution, it's a global institution. Our monarch is the queen of the Commonwealth of nations, including Australia. And I think we're all being pulled down by Meghan Markle's plan to become the most famous princess in the world. It's shocking that she manages to get away with it.
Well, she has apologised to the court. She said it wasn't intentional, it wasn't perjury. She forgot. Is that going to be enough? But I mean, there's also suggestions that perhaps now with these revelations, her staff, her current and perhaps former staff, will be called. I would imagine that could be quite interesting.
Yeah, I hope so, because we know that after they left the UK, they went to stay with friends, let's call them, in Los Angeles, who then kicked them out because they were so rude to their staff. I think Meghan Markle is quite entitled, but it will be interesting to find out what the common folk who've worked in and around her and with her have to say about her lifestyle and how she treats people. Because this is the problem with social climbers that want to put themselves above other people. It's disgusting behaviour to bully people who are working for you or under you. You can always tell how good a person's character is by how they treat people who are under them on the hierarchy. I think that's what my mother always told me anyway. Always make friends with the cleaners, always make friends with the caretakers. They are the most important people in any profession, anywhere you work. But people that look down their nose at people that they've left behind, they are the ones you have to worry about. And I honestly think she's one of them. So it'll be interesting to find out what they say about her. But you're right, that she has apologised. Is an apology enough when it comes to a court of law, though? I don't think so, because I don't think anyone else would get away with what she's done so far. And I don't think she should receive special treatment for being famous or rich or powerful.
Now, let's move along to what Boris Johnson has been up to. He said that COP26 has sounded the death knell for coal power, labelling the outcome as truly historic. Johnson says that within a few years, building a new coal power station would be unacceptable around the world. I'm not sure about that. And he's said COP26 scored more than 6 out of 10 for success. Now, Calvin, I've noticed the Tories' approval rating isn't what it used to be. Is Boris's green obsession got anything to do with that?
Well, our Prime Minister's green obsession comes from his new wife, who is very, very green and hyper eco-friendly. There's nothing wrong with being an environmentalist. It's a conservative trait. But when you go to the hyper extremes of the Liberals that they're doing at the moment, it is going to turn voters away, because what they're doing is passing fees down, passing taxes down to the common folk, whilst the elite manage to maintain their lifestyles of jetting around the world to, events like COP26, where they're using up more emissions getting there than we're probably going to use for the rest of our year. But the problem is, America uses a lot of, in fact, produces a lot of CO2 emissions, but China produces double what America produces. Whereas countries like United Kingdom and Australia aren't even in the top 10 CO2 emissions around the world. So it's not really going to make much of a difference what we do in our personal lives, except for our bills. Our bills are going to go up because we're going to have to pay for new boilers or new CO2 taxes and stuff. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, the Prime Minister's battling on and saying, yes, we've had an amazing COP26. People are going to stop using coal power. No, that's not the case. Countries have said they're going to wind down coal. They're not going to stop producing coal. And
China.
actually, say again, sorry?
And I think China's just going to be sitting back laughing at all of this.
Exactly.
All this does is empower them further, whilst their competitors weaken themselves and weaken their industries, like you said, with increasing power bills and unreliability. That's another issue. Now, I want to ask you about what's happening with illegal immigration. France has been accused of ceding to criminal people smugglers after 1,000 migrants reached the UK in one day. And there's reports saying that more than 3,000 migrants crossed the Channel in the first 11 days of November, with the French intercepting less than 30%. What's happening there, and why aren't the French doing more to stop these evil people smugglers?
Yeah, so these people smugglers, there's a whole industry here of people smuggling people over the channel into the United Kingdom. It doesn't make much sense to me. So the bleeding heart liberals in the UK say, well, these people, they're refugees, they're asylum seekers, they need a safe place. And I'm like, well, they're coming from France. France is a very safe country. They've made it all the way from wherever, Syria, wherever, to France. They are safe now. They no longer need to illegally cross borders to get to the UK. But I mean, we can blame France all we like, but actually, the United Kingdom government is at fault here because they've been saying for years we can't do anything about it. EU law says we cannot stop them. Well, we've left the EU now, and we still haven't stopped people illegally crossing our borders. And as you say, we've had, I think it's nearly 3,000 people now in this month alone coming over illegally, and we don't do anything when they get here. They run away and integrate into society. Our NHS is already overwhelmed. A lot of our benefit systems are already overwhelmed, and these people aren't allowed to work legally because they weren't here legally, so they're not allowed to contribute to our economy, and so they're just taking away. So it doesn't make any sense. What we need to do is get a government that's strong enough to say we're going to police our borders, much like they do in Australia, actually, and say, no, you cannot cross the water illegally. You will be turned back. But at the moment, what we're doing is we're getting in the water and bringing them over. We're helping them come over to United Kingdom. It's astonishing to me that we're encouraging illegal activity. And as you mentioned, the people smugglers are the ones benefiting, and these are the ones putting people's lives at risk. It's criminal activity, and we're encouraging it. It's disgusting.
And there's a reason why they're leaving safe France and coming over to the UK. There's probably inducements that they don't have in France. So, I mean, that's another way the British can do something about this. They do something about the pull factor, because the push factor is always going to be there. Calvin, always a pleasure to get your insights. Thanks for your time tonight.